Hello again, this is John Lord, and this is a follow-on from my last video on some little tips or tricks using Litchi Hub. As I said in the last video, I do a lot of work for a wildlife trust, and that involves going to lots of reserves and taking images looking straight down to produce a high resolution map, and also video with the camera looking at minus 30 degrees so that the reserve managers can see what's going on and so on. Now there are a lot of reserves to be done, and that requires a lot of planning. So anything you can do in helping with the planning is a big help. Now, I know there's software around like Pix4D, Drone Deploy, Photoscan, AGI Soft, and so on, that will do a lot of things for you. And of course, DJI's own Ground Station Pro. In Ground Station Pro, for example, you can effectively mark out the area you want to cover. I think you put in the height you want to fly at or the resolution you really want, and the rest is done for you. Well, quite frankly, that's a little bit too automated for me. I really want more control over what is going on. So I like to do the planning manually on Litchi, and the images that I use, the straight down images, I then process in PT GUI to produce the high resolution map. So as I said, anything that can be done to reduce the time it takes to do the planning is useful. So I came up with the idea of creating some pre-programmed matrix of camera positions. So that's what I want to demonstrate in conjunction with the move control that is on the that you have on Litchi Hub. So here is the area, my sort of demonstration area, if you like. I'm going to open up a pre-stored matrix. In this case, it's X4S, 360 feet, that's my height, 50% overlap, and my camera positions are 270 feet apart in the horizontal and 160 in the vertical. So I'm going to load that matrix up, and there we have the matrix. And so obviously that was done for this particular field. I want to use this matrix on another reserve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to the other reserve using the move tool. So I'm going to zoom out. The other reserve that I want to cover is in here. This little village here is called Barton Mills in the United Kingdom, in the county of Suffolk. This is Mildenhall, and this is the American Air Force Base at RAF Mildenhall. Fortunately, this area that I'm going to cover here is outside of the no-fly zone, otherwise we'd have a few problems. So my matrix is here. What I'm going to do is click on the move tool, go over to my matrix and just drag it across. I can drag it roughly on top of where I want, let it go, turn off the move control, then I'm going to zoom in and just fine-tune it. So it wasn't bad. The area that I want to cover is this area here, which is actually a good deal smaller than the matrix of camera positions. So I'm now going to use the move control just to move it up roughly to where I want, say there, turn off the move control and drag it down. Now we can see, of course, that there are a lot of camera positions that are well away from the reserve or the area that I'm interested in, and also a lot of them are over houses, and as we all know, flying over houses is not particularly good. Tends to upset a few people. So I can remove the waypoint. So that's quite easy to do. Just click on, say, the last one, delete, and I can very quickly delete them. And as you can see, it's a heck of a lot quicker to delete waypoints than it is to put them in. So I'm going to be flying from just about this area here, and so I can drag my start point over there. Now we're still covering an area that we're not interested in up here, so I can delete those very quickly and do the same here. And I can take that one out. I'll leave that one in. I'll take that out. That one can stay in. This one can come out. And in fact, these ones here can also come out, I think, because they're flying. We don't really want to be taking pictures over the houses. So there we have the area covered pretty well. Obviously, if I wanted to be fine-tune it, I could move some of these in a bit. And I can move my first waypoint and my last waypoint to inside the reserve itself. So there we have the matrix of camera positions. I need to just change the last waypoint there to the height and reduce that, say, to 125 feet. So I can now step through very quickly and check that everything is correct, that it's taking the photo in the right place, and so on. Now, one thing I just need to add in is I want a waypoint that I can use to where I'm going to focus the camera. So I'm going to click on one, insert a waypoint, which is 2, just drag that up somewhere to close to the first real camera position. The gimbal needs to be set at -90 degrees, and add in my stay for 10 seconds. So just to cover that off again, my first waypoint is going to be 125 feet. Now, a little thing, a bug if you like, within Litchi is that your first waypoint, it appears that it does the camera action before the gimbal action. So what I inevitably find is that I take off, go to the first waypoint, it takes a picture, and the camera's normally looking straight ahead, and then what it does is to set the gimbal to -90 degrees. So I've learned to live with that. So, but I still set it on the first waypoint to -90 degrees, and so on. So then the craft will go off and do the mission. So that's using the move tool. Now, of course, there's one thing you need to do. You need to save it, but you need to. If I click on save, I don't want it to overwrite my master, if you like. So I'm going to call this Barton Mills. So I give it a new name. It says I've already used that, so I'm going to call it Barton Mills 2. So there we go. So there is our matrix of camera positions for a new reserve. Now, one thing that you may ask is, well, how did you arrive at these 270 feet between camera positions when flying at 360 feet using the X4S? Well, I will cover that in the next video. So thank you for listening, and see you next time.